Welcome everyone to the Power Half Hour. My name is Debbie Sanzo-Davis with the New Self-Help Movement. I am here today with our co-host, Lori Tidwell. Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Debbie?
Very good. Kimberly Petrosino. Hi, Kimberly. And Dorothy Holterman.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Laura.
Thank you for joining me, co-host. And our special guest today is Laura Brown. Now, we've known Laura for a few years. In fact, Laura was one of our guest speakers just 1 year ago this week at our Asilomar retreat. And for any of you who are not familiar with Asilomar, it is where Wayne Dyer filmed the movie The Shift. It's an absolutely lovely place on the Monterey Peninsula. If you ever have the chance to go there, please do. And Laura was one of our guest speakers, and she presented a workshop surrounding her book. And I am going to show you her book here. Her book is called Redesigning Your Health, a Roadmap to Self-Directed Healing. Now, what's really neat about this, too, is she then sends a little roadmap with the book. And it literally is a roadmap. When you open it up, it's got a diagram that you can follow for your health. Now, Laura's going to tell us more about her roadmap. But I thought what would be a lot of fun to do is to ask each coach what their roadmap would be. What would they design as their roadmap to self-healing? So I'm going to start with Kimberly Petrosino. Kimberly, what would your roadmap look like?
Well, I just love this idea of a roadmap. That's the cutest thing I've ever seen. I love it. My roadmap would definitely consist of small changes because that's really what contributed to my health journey overall. I think it would start with, you would want to take a good look at the different aspects of your life: finances, physical fitness, diet, relationships, stress, career, creativity, and so forth, and see what areas you feel really strong in and what areas you need work in. So the areas you find that you need work in, or maybe you're unhappy in, are the areas that you want to focus on first. And pick two or three, or one or two rather, don't overwhelm yourself with too many small changes at one time. So for me, my first area that I wanted to work on was physical fitness, because I realized that I was really out of shape, more so than I even thought I was. So I started running slowly at first and then building more momentum, and then changes in that area inspired changes in my diet, and then I started feeling better. So little changes sort of inspired more small changes. And as I started getting more comfortable, I would incorporate more and just started feeling better and better. And to this day, I'm still making small changes whenever I feel like I need help in one area or another. So that's what my roadmap would look like: little small change stations for every aspect of my life.
Perfect. You know, when you were talking about the small change station, I kept thinking of those, you know, when you're out exercising and they have those little pathways and little exercises that you can do at each stop.
Yeah.
Dorothy, how about you?
I think that I would like to create a roadmap that, you know, would encourage people to put more energy into habits. So maybe stop one would be food, and you would look maybe at breakfast, lunch, dinner. Well, how can we make each of those daily meals more energetic? So like we'd go away from processed foods towards fresh food for each of those, with maybe suggestions, then maybe move into movement. So how can we make that more energetic? So little tips like, park a few blocks away from where you're going, walk the dog an extra 3 blocks every day. But ideas to increase energy through your daily habits and daily routine. That's how I work with people, to see how we can create this life to get more energy into it,
Sure.
to make you more energetic, and more energy in your body results in better health. I probably would have a little meditation pathway, spirituality pathway. I don't think that can be avoided to get that energy going. So that's what I think I would do.
It sounds great. So Kimberly, we've got Kimberly going in the physical roadmap direction. You are going in the energetic direction. And let's see what Lori is going to offer us. Lori.
How about if we throw both of those in? No. Well, my roadmap is really outlined in my book, kind of. Each chapter is about, so I just grabbed one of my books really quick. One of those. So the first thing for me was getting a hold of my stress levels, because, oh my goodness, I was living under so much stress. And the way I did that was through gratitude, actually. And I have an exercise that I do with clients right off the bat, where you can use gratitude to combat your stress levels, because it shifts your perspective about things, even about your greatest challenges in life. So that would be the first thing. And then the next thing I talk about is forgiveness. And a lot of that was wrapped around forgiveness for myself, because it was easy for me to forgive other people, but more challenging for me to forgive myself for my shortcomings and things like that. So that was a next step for me. And then another aspect would be nutrition, obviously. And I agree with Dorothy 100%, getting more whole foods in your diet, more fruits and vegetables for sure. Things that are the way that they naturally are meant to be. So that and movement. So tying in with Kimberly, movement is another aspect of it, and exercise. And what do you enjoy? What works for you? Is it yoga, or is it weightlifting, which is what I love to do? Or is it running, like what Kimberly likes to do? I am not a runner and probably will never be one, so that's okay. And then the last, one of the last things I talk about is play, and getting back into your inner child, and finding the creativity in you that is the problem solver, because that's where you receive your inspiration. Is just getting into the playtime and really not being such a serious adult all the time, and really tapping back into the creative, imaginative you that was your youth. So having fun and playing, and then recreating your story. And that's how I changed my health. That's the roadmap to how I went from complete despair and living in the abyss of dishealth, and coming into health and living my life that I love. So
interestingly enough, I think we all did follow a roadmap. We probably didn't think of it in those terms, but we did follow one. And, you know, and Laura, again, I've heard Laura talk about this, and I just love the perspective she puts on it. And she actually had a 30-year career as a business technologist, but her specialty was business process improvement. So when I thought about that, I thought, oh my goodness, yeah, you know, you could do the same thing with your health. And that's exactly what she did. Now, the New Self-Health movement, as we know, is very much about helping each person find their method for self-directed wellness. So I would love it if Laura could just share a little bit about her journey with us, and how this whole thing came about. Laura, once again, thank you so much for being with us today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Sure. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. So in my late teens and my early 20s, I suffered and struggled a bit, various kinds of conditions that were that Western medicine didn't really have good answers for. Things like digestive issues, which were misdiagnosed as an ulcer when it was actually the opposite problem. So any treatment for that would push me in the wrong direction. Things like anxiety, things like allergies. And in all of these conditions, if I followed the Western medicine path and took drugs, they actually got worse. So fortunately, when I was about 25 years old, I discovered alternative therapies, chiropractors, kinesiologists, which is a more subtle diagnostic tool that a chiropractor would use, testing major muscle groups, which are each tied to a major organ. So you can actually tell the health of an organ by testing the tone of the muscle that's associated. So that was when I actually started getting better, feeling better, getting out of these issues with allergies. I was able to go off of medications and work really with supplements, herbs, and natural and food is a big part of it, and natural approaches. And so over the years, I've kind of developed this method of dealing with health issues, which I think of as synergistic healing. So what it means is when you keep trying new approaches, different treatments and approaches, and let them kind of work together in a way so that the whole becomes more than the sum of its parts, right? You're getting it. It's kind of the light twin of what they call drug interactions. Because a drug interaction can be dangerous. But when you're working with natural therapies and natural substances like foods and herbs, they complement one another, and you can actually get a better effect by combining different approaches and different herbs and foods. So yeah, so that's what I did, and I was a process improvement specialist for many years. And so I thought, why not take these skills that I've been honing in my work and apply them to this whole arena of health, which I'm so interested in and care so much about.
Perfect. Why don't you share just a little bit about how you went from that over to your roadmap for health? You know, how did it correlate? Give us a few.
Okay. Sure. So where the process came from was that I wanted to create a process that would serve as a roadmap for people who might be new to this kind of an approach, and new to taking charge of their own health, this whole self-directed healing thing, which, especially if you have a diagnosis or something, it can be kind of a scary and lonely process to find out, wow, I need to do something, and I need to figure out, where do I go from here? And so I designed the 7 steps based on my own experience and that of my clients, and then I interviewed several women about their healing journeys to see if I could find similarities, to see if they kind of confirmed the 7 steps that I found I went through, and which they did. Of course, everyone's journey is different, but there were important similarities, and those became the basis for the 7-step process in my book.
So you found that several people ended up going through the same process just by, coincidence. Maybe it's just something we all have to go through. So, and then you ended up writing your book, obviously. Share a few of the tips. Without giving the whole book away, share a few of the tips in your book that somebody could use.
So the main thing I would say is it's all about the approach. Mm-hmm. It's not about the tools. It's not about a magic bullet or a single treatment or finding the right drug cure. It's all about having an approach where we have many ways of helping ourselves that we can combine and adjust over time. And it's very much, for me, about learning to listen to our bodies, and see when we need to adjust and we need something new, need to try something new. And when we learn to listen to our bodies are just made that way. We're wired so that our bodies will send us messages about what we need. And there's in fact, what we need changes over time. And there's a quote that I love from Candace Pert, who wrote a book called Molecules of Emotion, where she says, our bodies are more flame than like a honey. And what that says to me is that the best tool for keeping up with the changing nature of your health over the seasons, over the years is this message your body respond that length.
So Laura, you froze up a little bit during that last part. Can you just give us that quote one more time? I could not make the whole thing out. Yeah.
Yes, the quote is, "Our bodies are more like a flickering flame than like a hunk of meat."
Okay. All right. Now.
Okay. Like constantly changing.
Okay. And I'm not sure that you knew that I wanted to talk about this, but the last time we talked, which has been a year ago, I know that brain health was something that you know a lot about. Can you? And there's so many people out there with brain injuries, and they're struggling trying to kind of figure out where to go with that one. Can you share a little bit about that, please? I think that's a really important topic.
Sure. So the brain is part of the nervous system, right? The whole thing's connected. And in our environment, in our culture, the environment that we live in, there are many toxins that can affect the brain. Mercury, I mean, all the chemicals that we dump into our homes and our fabrics, and all of that can affect the brain. So it's not unusual to have brain fog and memory issues. So one thing you can do is use brain foods. Walnuts are very good for the brain, and the funny thing you can see in a walnut is it actually looks like a little brain. So there's something called law of similarities, or doctrine of signatures, from like the Middle Ages, that says that's how you can tell what plant will treat what organ. And so the walnuts look like little brains. All the omega-3s, the healthy fatty acids, the brain loves fat, and that's one reason why a low-fat diet is really not recommended for most people, because the brain functions well when it has enough fat. What else? Well, there's a little exercise I can show you, which soothes and calms and wakes up the brain. And what you do is you take your fingers at the back of the neck, at the base of the skull, and you just gently tap. And you can do this for 5 or 10 minutes. You're just gently tapping at the base of the skull. And what that does is it opens up the back of the neck. There's a place in there where energy and chi flows between the brain and the rest of the body, and it can get stuck there. If you have a headache, you can tap like this, open up that channel, and it will cool down. And the other thing I learned, and you can just tap the rest of your head too, but that channel is something special. The other thing I learned in yoga is an expression that says, fire down, water up. And what that means is, if somebody's upset, you call them a hothead, right? So fire doesn't belong in the head. Fire belongs in the belly, the digestive fire. And water should come up to the head so that you're cool, calm. That's the healthy state of the head and the brain, is to be more like water. And so if you open up that channel in the back of the neck, bring that cooling water up and bring that fire down the front of your body.
I love that. So Laura, we have a few more minutes, three minutes. What else would you like to share? You know, I do want you to share what changes someone could experience if they just did follow your roadmap. But what else would you like to share? Because we do have a few extra minutes today.
Well, I would love to share about an exciting project that I've got coming up in my business.
Great.
It's called the Real Food Project. And that's because real, whole, organic foods are the foundation of a healthy diet and good health. And so the mission of the Real Food Project is to make real foods available, affordable, and ubiquitous, much like junk food is today. I would love to see real food as ubiquitous, affordable, and available as junk food is. So my goal is to build a platform, and you can imagine like an Airbnb or Uber, some of these platforms successful to help organic consumers and organic growers find each other and do business together. So this idea came out of the fact that I'm the client for this platform. I'm an organic grower, I'm a home grower, and I grow more than we can use, right? So I could take it to the farmer's market, but I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning and pick vegetables and drive 30 minutes to the farmer's market and spend 5 hours selling a few vegetables, because I'm not a professional, farmer, and that time is my gardening time. So, but if you told me that I could put out a list on Friday, Thursday or Friday, to my people that are signed up on the platform, and they could go online and order, and the platform would handle the exchange of payment. And Monday morning, I had a list of prepaid orders. I could go out and pick vegetables, bring them into town. I drive into town on Monday morning anyway, and have my condo be a drop point, have an Uber called to come and pick up all the orders and just go around and deliver them. Then I could do that because it would be so little extra effort for me. And my guess is that there are other people like me who are home gardeners, who grow, who have excess capacity. So what this is about is tapping into that excess capacity and freeing it up, because I don't know about where you live, but in Georgia, there's not nearly enough. So if you can bring more food into our system, then that can get to more people. You can sell it a little more cheaply because you're not spending the hours at the farmer's market. It's an easy transaction. So that's really the vision. That's really the vision for the Real Food Project. And it also has a social component. I would love to, I think you could take it into areas that are now food deserts. And I would love to partner with people in Atlanta that I know are already working on that issue. Urban farmers, community farmers that are in these underserved areas. And I think an idea like this could bring more food to more places where it's needed.
Laura, I think that's an awesome idea. And be sure and let us know, when you get the platform up and going, you know how many health coaches that would be absolutely willing to get that message out there for you. So be sure and let us know. We would be happy to support you and put it on our site too, and announce it here on our show every week for sure. And
well, thank you so much.
I think it's a great direction for you to go in. I really do. I'm
thank you.
thrilled to hear that.
And I do think it's designed to start with growers, organic growers, and consumers, but I think down the line it can be expanded to the other people in the whole food ecosystem, like health coaches, like maybe personal chefs, so that when somebody says, I want to eat healthy, real food, the health coach can also be on this system and help that person figure out what does a healthy diet really look like for me as the bio individual that I am.
Yes, yes. And to be able to share what you grow. Oh my goodness, talk about energy, huh? That would just be such a lovely energy to have out there and going for us. So definitely we're on board with you, Laura, 100%. Just let us know. I'm going to have each one of the coaches share something with us for their takeaway. Laura, you know, I think one thing that we could ask everyone to do is to consider what they grow in their garden. You know, I mean, you inspire me when I hear you say that you have more than you could even possibly consume. That totally inspires me. So we'll see if we can get more people out there growing veggies. Lori, how about you? What would you like to share today?
Well, if we're talking about a roadmap to our health, then I would just encourage everybody to not be afraid to take one step, because sometimes it feels so daunting. It's like, okay, I've been diagnosed with something, or I've got this issue going on, and I don't know what to do or where to go. And so you just get overwhelmed, and so you just stop and don't do anything, and you just go with whatever you're being told by doctors or you know, whatever you read online or whatever. So just kind of take one step, and like Kimberly was saying earlier, it doesn't have to be huge. Small changes make big differences down the line. It's the small changes. You got to start with the small changes. You know, don't try and eat the whole elephant all at once. It's just like, not that I, you know, want anybody to eat elephants at all, but it's just like, it's that analogy of don't eat the whole elephant all at once. It's just like one bite at a time. So it's just pick one thing, you know, whether it's drinking more water or getting more sleep or taking a walk or forgiving yourself or whatever, or just, it's any of the suggestions we've made for the last few weeks. It's really just implementing one small change at a time. But it's like, don't get overwhelmed and just start somewhere. And know that you've got this.
Absolutely.
You can do this. You absolutely can do this. And there are people that can guide you. I mean, that's why we're out here doing what we're doing. We want people to know that there are people that have walked this road and we can guide.
You got it, for sure, Lori. How about you, Kimberly?
Well, I agree. I was going to say something very similar to what Lori said, and in the spirit of looking at our health journey like a roadmap, sort of figure out that one or two areas that you really want to focus on, if it's your finances or your career or your physical fitness, and focus on making 1 to 2 small changes for a week and see if you can implement them, see how much better you feel. Just 1 or 2 changes, don't overwhelm yourself, and just see how it goes and see how you feel.
Good idea. Maybe just pinpoint the one thing that seems to be affecting you the most. If it's your finances,
and the area that you need help in, because I think people tend to, if they're doing well in one area or excelling in one area, they keep going on that area because they're doing well, and they kind of let the areas that are lacking continue to fall by the wayside. So an area that you feel like you need work in, 1 or 2 small changes and for a week, and see how you feel.
That's right. I agree totally. How about you, Dorothy?
Just one sec. Just one thing with that, because I think you need to acknowledge yourself. Make sure you're acknowledging yourself for the things that are working, though, because the things that are working, it proves you can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you, Dorothy?
I like to start with my clients saying, all we need to do is one word: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like, it sounds overwhelming and big, but really, when you look at, you just have to tackle the 3 meals that you eat repetitively over and over, that will be the basis of your good health. And I like to start them with breakfast, then we work on lunch, then we work on dinner. And the idea is your breakfast gives you enough energy to get you to lunch. Your lunch gives you enough energy to get you to dinner. And then dinner takes you till you'll break the fast in the morning and start again. And it's not that overwhelming to just, if you just take it as like, I need energy, I need fuel. And at each step, everyone kind of knows where they can improve it. More whole foods, more vegetables. And little by little, that's profound, a profound shift.
You know, that's a good point, Dorothy. And I would venture to guess that a majority of the population does not even have breakfast. So you're already starting off, you know, feeling slumpish for the day.
I would say that's the #1 issue, that when people that I'm working with can change, they start to notice really big shifts in their health.
Good. I like that one. Well, we are up against the clock for our half hour, and we are going to stick around for a few questions after, everyone, so please stay on the line with us. But for our audience watching online on YouTube, we would like to thank you for joining us today. It has been an absolute joy having Laura on. Laura, any last words before we cut to questions and answers?
Well, I did come with a call to action.
Good.
So my call to action is to learn to listen to your body. And here's a simple way to start. Keep a food journal for 1 week, and not only write down what you eat, but also how it may get to here is raising awareness, because awareness is a very good first step toward empowerment.
Perfect. I'm glad you mentioned journaling. A lot of times we forget that, and it is really important to do that. So thank you so much, Laura, and please stay with us. We're going to have a few questions at this time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.